on this.
Yeah.
You see, they're very good at, the Tamil representatives are very good at coming out in this
it's the UN and the Human Rights
Wait a
Watch.
minute. Now,
Not
human rights. Sir John Holmes, who visited the camp,
Yeah.
have openly issued a statement.
Government minister
Sir
called
John
a terrorist.
Holmes was an under-secretary of the United Nations who visited the camps, and he has openly issued statements asking, if you have friends, if you're friends with LTT, ask them to release those civilians. Now, my friend has admitted, oh yes, we did ethnic cleansing. Now he says, oh, the tigers are welcome.
Okay,
I don't think I admitted that. Where did I admit that?
Are you not saying that they were chased out of Jaffna?
I don't know what happened to them. I
Douglas,
don't know.
do you
Well,
not
But they've been
agree?
welcomed back, but the government
you
hasn't
agree?
facilitated
You see, you
that.
throw
But
them
what is
back.
going on is genocide.
Wait a minute. No,
The
you
government
had
of
your-
Sri Lanka had state-sponsored
your
colonization
time.
Let's
let me
hear
reply
what
to
Douglas
one
to
of
water
them.
down the
Basically.
ethnic composition
See,
of
they're
the East.
talking
Okay, guys,
about-
we're running out of time, so if we
Yeah,
can
they're
just
talking
speak
about
one at a
that
time.
observers are not allowed. Actually, the ICRC is there. And
They're not
the
there. They go
UN
to
organizations
pick up
are there.
people.
They are involved in rescuing these civilians who have been held by the tigers.
You're
and
lying.
we have this appalling record.
Okay, gentlemen,
That's
do
absolute
both
lie.
sides, do both of your sides, do you agree that we need intervention?
Are you the responsibility to
Around the world.
protect?
We
Do
need
you
intervention
need
in the
intervention?
sense of United Nations or anybody, foreign people, must save those civilians from the LTT. Because the LTT, the last desperate attempt to save themselves, they're using their own people. They're shooting their own people. They have killed even the foreign minister of Sri Lanka, who was a Tamil. They have killed the leaders. Tamil intelligentsia has been wiped out by the LTT. The
It's naturally
LTT led by
it's
a
the
school
tactics
dropout.
used by the LTTE
Sorry?
which has actually got them labelled as terrorist organisations.
Not only in
Yeah.
England, it's a terrorist organization banned
Is
in
it
about
dialogue or
32,
monologue?
34 countries all over the world. And they killed the former Prime Minister of India,
Over the
Rajiv
last 3
Gandhi.
years,
Now,
over the last
this
3
is-
years, the government of Sri Lanka has assassinated 6 Tamil MPs from the Tamil National Alliance. Joseph Bararajasingham was killed in a church on Christmas taking midnight mass. Who did that? Why hasn't
The
anybody been brought to
TNA
They have killed-
MPs are frightened even
Oh,
to come
here we
out to
go.
the
Just-
Okay,
LTT area.
Why
we
don't
must
you
go
just
for a very short break.
relax?
We'll continue very briefly just on the other
Okay.
side of the break. Okay, thank you very much. Right, okay, let's take that break. We'll come back in just a few minutes.
And welcome back to the Breakfast Show. It is Breakfast with Sunrise.
That's right. Okay, this morning we're discussing on the Tamil protest and, of course, the situation between Sri Lanka and the Tamil Tigers. And joining us this morning, or still with us this morning, is Douglas Wickramaratne, President of the Sinhala Association. I'm a bit tongue-tied this morning. And we also have Arjunan Ithirveerasingham, who is a humanitarian worker. Good morning, gentlemen. Thank you very much for staying with us. Okay, as I said, I'm a bit tongue-tied, so apologies for any mispronunciations of the names. Now, okay.
You did very well.
Thank you. Right, okay, now, as we were discussing just before the break, of course, we saw your different views from either side. Douglas, you're speaking on behalf of the Sinhalese people, and of course, Arjunan on behalf of the Tamil. During the break, Douglas, we said that, you know, do we not need an intervention? But intervention, you said it's already been sorted out. Sri Lanka's already sorted out the problem. There is no further problem. How can you possibly say that when we, you know...
say this
What
because,
did you mean by that? Yeah.
because very soon the people of Sri Lanka, the peace-loving people of Sri Lanka, which include the Sinhalese, the Tamil, the Muslims, the Malays, the Burghers, everybody will rejoice the defeat of the LTT, which has been terrorizing our country for the last over 30 years. They have killed, massacred innocent women, men, women and children. They've gone into villages at night and just massacred children. Pregnant women have been killed.
Yeah.
And they have done this, and I mean, I not only speak for the Sinhalese, I speak for peace-loving Sri Lankans, because even in Colombo, my relations have been killed as well, because there are buses being blown up, trains being blown up, suicide bombers attacking and using children as suicide
But
bombers.
if they've done
as
it in the
well.
past, it's still going on, regardless of which way we're looking at it. It's still going on, isn't it?
You see,
so
you're not allowing...
the problem's not sorted yet, so we need some kind
A
of...
democracy cannot allow terrorists to function like this. Can you imagine what happens here in England if a thing like this was happening on the streets of London?
Yep.
But today, you talked about the demonstration here. Do you know that it's an unauthorized demonstration? They're flouting the laws of the UK, of London. Do you think that this British government would have allowed if it is Al-Qaeda demonstration? You saw in those pictures of small, tiny children carrying the tiger flag. That horrible flag of a tiger coming out with...
Okay, yeah, we did see that, right.
And also displaying photographs of the LTT leader Prabhakaran, the man wanted by Interpol.
But that again is freedom of speech. We cannot say that. People do
that
have that
is not freedom of speech, because that is illegal. That's an unlawful act, because the LTT is banned as a terrorist organization. You cannot display...
All of these individuals, all they're asking for is intervention. They're asking for aid, for food, for medical supplies.
No, the whole idea is not that, because can you... The one question that the British people must ask is, where did all these Tamils come from? How did they manage to come to UK? Because as long as...
If I may, I have an answer
wait
to
a minute. They have come as refugees. Because as long as there's problems in Sri Lanka, as long as this problem goes on, the refugees can stay here.
Right.
And there is a case that not only in England, but all over the world, over 500,000 to 1 million Tamils have come, using this excuse, saying that they have been victimized in Sri Lanka, that they have been discriminated. Actually, the Tamils are the most privileged minority in the world. Do you know the rights of the Tamils? The language, there are 100 million Tamils all over the world. It is only in Sri Lanka that the Tamil language is an official language. Do you know that when the Tamils asked for, what they asked for was...
I'm not going to sit here and listen to all of this.
Saying that with Tamil Nadu, which is the homeland of Tamils, where 70 million Tamils live, not the homeland of Tamils is not Sri Lanka.
Yep.
So, and they have come out with these mythical terms of we had a separate kingdom.
Bring Arjun in.
Well, I don't know where to start. There's a whole bunch of ridiculous statements said by the honourable representative of the government of Sri Lanka. He has a right to say them.
He does.
But number one was the language issue. In 1956, the government of Sri Lanka made Sinhalese the only language. So there's been structural genocide going on since independence. For 30 years, there was peaceful protest against that. The armed struggle began in the 70s and 80s. As a result of the discrimination, the human rights abuses, the disappearances, the extrajudicial killings, latest phase of this is the use of white phosphorus on civilians, the use of cluster bombs on civilians, etc. So there is genocide going on in Sri Lanka. You cannot look at this in a little piece of history. You must look at the whole history.
Okay, but
the Tamils are discriminated against. They came here for a reason. The UK government does not give asylum to anybody just for any reason. There is a reason they gave asylum, because the government of Sri Lanka is one of the worst human rights abuses in the world.
I think
people feel safer. Did I interrupt you? Please do not interrupt me. Thank you very much.
Okay, obviously very strong views on both sides. So we're going to have to round it up now.
Show some respect. This is England. We have a right to speak, unlike in Sri Lanka.
Okay, gentlemen, we're going to have to round it up here. Where do we go from here? Obviously, what can be done?
All we're asking for is a ceasefire with international monitoring, humanitarian access so that the UN and the international NGOs can go into the area, humanitarian assistance provided to the people, and media access to find out about these war crimes that have been committed. What is it? The LTT has agreed to all of these things. It called for an unconditional ceasefire. Why is the government of Sri Lanka preventing the world from seeing what is going on here? Since January 2007, they haven't allowed any independent media into the LTT-controlled areas. What are they hiding?
So clearly some intervention.
They are hiding genocide.
Right. Okay.
I think,
sorry, guys, we have run out of time. Thank you very much, both of you, for coming in and talking to us about this.
Thank you very much.
Right. Okay, right. That was, of course, Douglas Wickramaratne, President of the Sinhala Association, and Arjunan Ithavira-Singham, humanitarian worker.
Okay, now we are going to take a short break, but do stay with us, because after the break we will be having a look at the main stories in the headlines in the newspapers as well. So we'll see you in a few minutes' time.